The unexpected guest captain, Marcus Kane, wiped the grease from his hands as he finished the routine maintenance check on the cargo hauler Windrunner. The old ship wasn't much to look at, but she had served him well through countless runs across the outer rim territories. Her hull bore the scars of meteorite impacts and the wear of years spent jumping between star systems, carrying supplies to remote colonies. The bridge was quiet except for the steady hum of life support systems when the proximity alarm suddenly blared. Marcus dropped his coffee mug and rushed to the scanner display. A small escape pod was drifting dead in space, its emergency beacon flashing weakly. "Well, that's not something you see every day," Marcus muttered, running his fingers through his graying beard. In 20 years of independent hauling, he had encountered plenty of strange situations, but rescue operations were usually handled by military vessels or official emergency responders. The pod's design was unlike anything in the standard databases. Its smooth, organic curves seemed to flow like liquid metal, and strange symbols pulsed along its surface with a soft blue light. Marcus had seen enough alien technology during the recent first contact incidents to recognize this wasn't human-made. After bringing the pod aboard using the cargo bay's magnetic clamps, Marcus approached it cautiously. The hatch opened with a soft hiss, releasing a cloud of silvery mist. Inside, curled up like a frightened animal, was a figure unlike anything he had ever seen. She was humanoid but clearly not human. Her skin had a pale lavender hue that seemed to shimmer in the cargo bay's harsh lighting. Long, flowing hair the color of starlight cascaded around her shoulders, and when she looked up at him with wide, frightened eyes, Marcus saw they were a brilliant violet color that seemed to hold depths of intelligence and fear. "Please," she whispered in accented but understandable English, "do not harm me. I seek only sanctuary." Marcus held up his hands in what he hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "Easy there, miss. I'm not going to hurt you. Name's Marcus Kane, and this is my ship." "What's your name?" "I am called Zara," she replied, slowly, uncurling from her defensive position. "I am of the Valdez people. My escape pod's systems are failing, and I detected your vessel's energy signature." Marcus noticed she was wearing what appeared to be a form-fitting suit, made of the same flowing material as her pod, technology far beyond anything humans had developed. Yet she seemed genuinely afraid and vulnerable. "Valdez," Marcus repeated, searching his memory. He had heard rumors of a new alien species that had made contact with the Terran colonies, but the official reports were classified above his security clearance. "You're a long way from home, aren't you?" Zara nodded, her expression growing more troubled. "My people are peaceful explorers, but we encountered hostile forces. They destroyed our research vessel. I barely escaped." Her voice caught slightly, and Marcus could see the trauma of recent events in her violet eyes. The old captain made a decision that would change both their lives forever. Culture shock and bathroom disastrous. Marcus led Zara through the cramped corridors of the Windrunner, noting how she flinched at every mechanical sound. The ship's systems, which he barely noticed anymore, seemed to terrify her. The hum of the air recyclers, the clank of metal expanding and contracting, the occasional groans of the aging hull, all of it made her jump like a startled cat. "Not used to noisy ships?" Marcus asked as they passed the engine room, where the main drive made its characteristic rumbling sound. Zara shook her head, her starlight hair catching the corridor's dim lighting. "Valdez technology operates in perfect harmony with natural forces. Our ships move through space as silently as fish through water. This is like being inside a great mechanical beast." Marcus chuckled. "Well, this mechanical beast has kept me alive for 20 years. She's noisy, cranky, and older than dirt, but she gets the job done." He paused at the galley entrance. "You hungry? I've got some decent food synthesizers." The galley was a small space dominated by food preparation equipment and a table that could seat for people if they didn't mind being cozy. Zara watched with fascination as Marcus operated the synthesizer, punching codes into the keypad and waiting as the machine hummed to life. "Your food creation device makes so much noise," she observed, watching steam rise from the dispensing slot. "On my world, nourishment is cultivated through thought-guided biosynthesis, silent, efficient, perfectly balanced, thought-guided. Biosynthesis, Marcus repeated, raising an eyebrow. Fancy. But can it make a decent bowl of beef stew? He handed her the steaming bowl and watched as she sniffed it cautiously before taking a small taste. Her eyes widened in surprise. This is actually quite pleasant. The flavor complexity is remarkable. Food is food, Marcus said with a shrug, settling down with his own meal. Most species end up liking similar things once they get past the initial shock. After they finished eating, Marcus showed Zara to the guest quarters. The ship had been designed to carry passengers occasionally, though Marcus rarely used those compartments anymore. The room was small but clean, with a fold-down bed, storage lockers, and a small porthole showing the star field outside. Bathrooms right next door, Marcus said, pointing down the corridor. Help yourself to whatever you need. I'll be on the bridge running diagnostics if you need anything. Marcus had just settled into the pilot's chair when he heard it, a shriek of pure terror that made his blood run cold. He bolted from his seat and ran down the corridor, his hand instinctively moving to the emergency medkit on his belt. Zara, he called out, following the sound to the bathroom. What's wrong? The bathroom door was open, and inside he found Zara pressed against the far wall, her violet eyes wide with terror as she stared at the toilet. Her whole body was trembling, and she was making small whimpering sounds. It attacked me, she gasped, pointing at the innocent-looking toilet. I used the facility as instructed, but then it roared like a savage beast and tried to devour everything. With a terrible whirlpool of destruction, Marcus blinked, then looked at the toilet, then back at Zara. Slowly, understanding dawned on him. You mean when it flushed? Zara repeated the unfamiliar word. Marcus walked over to the toilet and pressed the flush handle. The bowl filled with water, swirled around, and emptied with its characteristic whooshing sound. Zara yelped and actually jumped backward. It's supposed to do that, Marcus explained, trying very hard not to laugh. It's just cleaning itself. Watch. He flushed it again, and again Zara flinched at the sound. But the violence of it. Zara protested. The terrible noise, on my world. Such functions are handled with complete discretion and absolute silence. Waste matter is simply absorbed and recycled by the ship's biosystems. Marcus couldn't help himself anymore. He started laughing, not mockingly, but with genuine amusement at the situation. Here was a member of an advanced alien civilization, capable of faster-than-light travel and thought-controlled technology, completely terrified by a toilet. I'm sorry, he said when he got control of himself. I shouldn't laugh. It's just, if you think my toilet is scary, you're going to have a real interesting time with the rest of human technology. Learning human waste. Next morning, Marcus was awakened by a crash from the galley, followed by what sounded like Zara's voice, speaking in rapid, musical tones that he assumed was her native language. He pulled on his clothes and padded down the corridor to investigate. He found Zara standing amid the scattered remains of his favorite coffee mug, her lavender skin flushed darker with what he was learning to recognize as embarrassment. She was speaking to the food synthesizer in her own language, apparently trying to make it respond to verbal commands. Having trouble? Marcus asked. Surveying the damage. I apologize profusely, Zara said, switching back to English. I attempted to prepare morning nourishment without disturbing your rest period. Your food creation device does not respond to mental commands or vocal instructions in my language. Marcus knelt and started picking up the ceramic fragments. Yeah, she's strictly manual operation, old-fashioned buttons and codes. He looked up at her. What were you trying to make? Something similar to morning essence, a traditional Valdres breakfast beverage. It provides energy and mental clarity while tasting of spring flowers and morning dew. Sounds like tea with honey, Marcus mused. He stood and walked to the synthesizer, punching in a specific code. Try this. The machine dispensed a steaming cup that smelled of chamomile and sweetness. Zara accepted it cautiously, sniffed it, then took a sip. Her eyes widened with delight. This is extraordinarily similar to morning essence. How did you know? Marcus shrugged. Lucky guess. Most species that evolve intelligence seem to develop similar tastes for certain things. Comfort, foods, stimulants, things that make us feel good. Over the following days, Marcus found himself becoming an unlikely teacher as Zara struggled to adapt to human technology. Everything that seemed simple and obvious to him was a source of wonder and often terror. For her, the shower was another disaster. Zara had never encountered the concept of pressurized water spray, and when Marcus heard her screaming from the bathroom again, he found her cowering in the corner as water sprayed everywhere. "It's just water," he called through the door. "Turn the handle to the right to make it stop. The water attacks from multiple directions," came her muffled reply. How do humans survive such assault? Marcus spent an hour explaining the basics of human bathing practices, demonstrating the controls through the closed door, while Zara gradually worked up the courage to try again. The environmental controls were equally challenging. Zara was accustomed to biosystems that automatically maintain perfect temperature and humidity based on the occupant's needs. The concept of manually adjusting thermostats and air circulation was foreign to her. "Your ship requires constant attention," she observed as Marcus showed her the basic control panels. "Every system must be monitored and adjusted manually. How do you accomplish anything else?" "Practice," Marcus replied. "After 20 years, it's all automatic. I can tell what's wrong with any system just by listening to it." Listening to it, Marcus tilted his head, and sure enough, there was a slight irregularity in the air recycler's rhythm. "Hear that? Filters getting clogged. Needs to be changed in the next day or two." Zara listened intently, her head tilted in the same way. "I hear a variance in the harmonic pattern. Fascinating. You've developed almost biosystem awareness of your mechanical ship." "Never thought of it that way," Marcus admitted. "But yeah, I guess that's right." Despite her struggles with human technology, Zara proved to be remarkably intelligent and adaptable. She learned quickly, and Marcus found her questions often made him think about things he had taken for granted his entire life. "Why do humans prefer such aggressive solutions?" she asked one day as they worked together in the engine room. "Your technology is loud, forceful, often destructive to its environment." Marcus paused in his work calibrating the plasma manifolds. "Never thought about it being aggressive. It's just direct. We see a problem, we fix it with the tools we have." "But the cost," Zara said, running her hand along a scarred bulkhead. "Your ships bear wounds from their journeys. They age and deteriorate. Valdris vessels grow stronger with time, adapting and evolving." "Maybe," Marcus said. "But when your bioship gets shot by pirates, can you patch it up with spare parts and determination?" Zara was quiet for a moment. "No," she admitted. "When our research vessel was destroyed, there was nothing we could do. It simply died." Marcus looked at her, seeing the pain in her violet eyes. "That's the thing about human engineering. It's crude, but it's fixable. As long as you've got spare parts and stubbornness, you can keep going." The hunters arrived 3 days after rescuing Zara. Marcus was enjoying his morning coffee when the ship's proximity alarms began blaring. Multiple contacts had just dropped out of hyperspace, their energy signatures massive and clearly military. "Zara," he called as he rushed to the bridge. "We've got company." She appeared moments later, her face pale with fear as she looked at the scanner displays. 3 ships hung in space ahead of them, each one easily 10 times the size of the Windrunner. Their hulls were dark and angular, bristling with weapon arrays. "Kefir hunting ships," Zara whispered, her voice trembling. "They are the ones who destroyed my people's research vessel." "Hunting ships." Marcus's hands flew over the controls, bringing the Windrunner's minimal weapons online. "What are they hunting?" "Me," Zara said simply. "My people discovered something in our research that the Kefir Empire desperately wants. They have been hunting down survivors to prevent that knowledge from reaching other species." The lead ship was hailing them on standard frequencies. Marcus hesitated, then opened the channel. The view screen filled with the image of something that looked like a cross between a reptile and an insect, its multifaceted eyes glittering with cold intelligence. "Human vessel," the creature spoke in heavily accented but understandable English. "You are harboring a Valdris fugitive. Surrender the female and you will be allowed to continue your journey." Unharmed, Marcus looked at Zara, who was staring at the screen with undisguised terror. Her entire body was shaking, and he could see her fighting the urge to collapse. I don't know what you're talking about. Marcus replied, keeping his voice steady. I'm just a cargo hauler making my regular run. The Kefir's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Do not insult our intelligence. Human, our sensors detect Valdris biosignatures aboard your primitive vessel. This is your final warning. Marcus cut the transmission and turned to Zara. What exactly did your people discover that has these bug faces so worked up? Zara took a shaky breath. We found evidence of an ancient network of hyperspace conduits that could revolutionize faster-than-light travel. But more importantly, we discovered that the Kefir Empire has been using these conduits to spy on and manipulate other species for centuries, and they don't want that information getting out. Marcus understood. How many of your people knew about this? The research team was small, only 12 individuals. I believe I am the only survivor. Marcus studied the tactical display. The 3 Kefir ships had spread out in a standard hunting formation, blocking most escape routes. The Windrunner was faster than she looked, but not faster than military vessels. Can you pilot the ship? He asked suddenly. Zara blinked in surprise. I have been observing your techniques, but human controls are so different from our biosystems. Basic flight controls are over there. Marcus pointed to the co-pilot station. Throttle control, attitude thrusters, navigation, display. Think you can handle it? I will try, but why? Marcus was already moving toward the engineering section. Because I'm going to give those hunters something to think about. The Windrunner may be old, but she's got a few tricks in the engineering bay. Marcus began making rapid modifications to the ship's systems. He rerouted power from non-essential systems to the engines and began preparing a maneuver he had learned during his military service years ago. Marcus, Zara's voice came over the intercom. They are powering weapons. Not yet, Marcus muttered, working frantically. Just a few more seconds. The first energy blast rocked the ship, overloading several systems and filling the corridors with smoke. Marcus cursed and slammed his hand on the intercom button. Zara, when I give the word, push the throttle all the way forward and turn hard to starboard. Got it, I understand. Marcus made the final connection and rushed back to the bridge. The Kefir ships were closing in, their weapons charging for another volley. Now, Marcus shouted. Zara pushed the throttle forward just as Marcus triggered his modification. The Windrunner's cargo bay doors burst open, releasing a cloud of metallic chaff and debris that Marcus had been carrying for industrial purposes. The cloud expanded rapidly, creating a massive sensor shadow. Using the confusion, Zara turned the ship hard to starboard, pushing the engines beyond their normal limits. The Windrunner shot toward a nearby asteroid field, trailing smoke and sparks. Impressive flying, Marcus said as they wove between the floating rocks. You're a natural. This is terrifying. Zara replied, but Marcus could hear the excitement in her voice beneath the fear. How do humans endure such experiences? Practice, Marcus grinned, monitoring their pursuers and stubbornness. The human Wave asteroid field provided temporary shelter, but Marcus knew it wouldn't last long. The Kefir hunters were systematic and patient, methodically searching each section of the field. Sooner or later, they would find the Windrunner. We need to get word to the Terran Defense Force, Marcus said as he worked on repairing the damaged systems. If what you've told me is true, they need to know about these hyperspace conduits. Zara was helping him with the repairs, her delicate fingers surprisingly adept at handling human tools. The nearest Terran military installation is 3 days away at maximum speed. We would never escape the hunters. Maybe we don't need to escape them, Marcus said thoughtfully. Maybe we need to make them come to us. I do not understand. Marcus outlined his plan, and Zara's violet eyes grew wide with alarm. That is completely insane. The risk is enormous. Yeah, but it's also completely human. Marcus grinned. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. They spent the next several hours preparing. Marcus taught Zara how to operate the ship's communication systems while he worked on modifying the cargo bay. The plan was desperate, but it was their only chance. When they were ready, Marcus sent a broadband transmission on all emergency frequencies. This is Captain Marcus Kane of the independent hauler Windrunner. I have urgent information about the Kefir Empire and their use of ancient hyperspace technology. Any Terran Defense Force vessels in the area, please respond." The response came almost immediately, not from human forces, but from the Kefir hunters. "Human fool," the lead ship's commander hissed over the radio. "You have signed your death warrant." "Maybe," Marcus replied, "but I've also just told the entire galaxy where you are and what you're doing. How long before every species in this sector starts asking questions about those hyperspace conduits?" There was a long pause before the Kefir responded. "No matter. Dead beings cannot spread lies." The 3 hunter ships converged on the Windrunner's position, weapons glowing with deadly energy. Marcus waited until they were committed to their attack approach, then triggered his trap. The cargo bay doors opened again. But this time, instead of chaff, they released every piece of heavy machinery Marcus had been hauling. Massive industrial components tumbled through space, each one broadcasting a false sensor signature that made it appear to be an armed mine. The lead hunter ship, moving at full attack speed, couldn't avoid the debris field. It struck a heavy fabrication unit, and the impact sent both the ship and the machinery spinning out of control. "Now," Marcus shouted. Zera pushed the engines to maximum power, and the Windrunner shot out of the asteroid field like a missile. Behind them, the remaining hunter ships were trying to avoid the spreading debris field while maintaining pursuit. "There," Zera pointed at the scanner display. "Terran ships approaching from the outer system. A squadron of Defense Force patrol vessels was burning toward them at maximum acceleration." Marcus opened communications with the lead ship. "This is Captain Marcus Kane. I have a Valdris refugee aboard with critical intelligence about Kefir Empire activities. Request immediate assistance." The response came in a crisp military voice. "This is Commander Jackson of the TDF cruiser. Resolute. We have you on sensors, Windrunner. Stand by for escort." The Kefir hunters found themselves outnumbered and outgunned. After a brief but intense firefight, they retreated into hyperspace, leaving the field to the human vessels. Later, aboard the Resolute, Marcus and Zera sat in the briefing room. As Zera shared her people's discoveries with the Terran Defense Force officers, the information about the hyperspace conduits would revolutionize human understanding of galactic politics and technology. "You've done a great service for both our species," Commander Jackson told them. "The Valdris refugees will be given sanctuary, and this intelligence will help us prepare for future Kefir threats." As they prepared to leave, Zera turned to Marcus. "What will you do now?" "Your ship needs extensive repairs." Marcus smiled. "The Defense Force is offering me a contract to transport Valdris refugees to safe haven worlds. Seems like steady work." "And dangerous work," Zera observed. "The best kind," Marcus replied. "Besides, someone needs to teach you people how to use a proper toilet." Zera laughed, the musical sound filling the briefing room. "Perhaps in return, I can teach you about biosystem technology. A cultural exchange program. Sounds like a plan." Marcus agreed. "Just promise me one thing." "What is that?" "Next time you use the bathroom, try not to scream. It's embarrassing." Zera's cheeks flushed darker with embarrassment, but she was smiling. "I make no promises about the shower." As they walked toward the docking bay where the repaired Windrunner waited, Marcus reflected on how much his life had changed in just a few days. He had started as a simple cargo hauler and had somehow become a key figure in interspecies relations. It was, he decided, a very human way for things to work out. The end.